everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making an explosion box from start to finish, and I've made this explosion box with all elements that are available in Cricut Design Space. There may be some that are chargeable through the Access program, so if you don't have a subscription you may have to pay a small fee if you wish to use my design. I have put it on my profile page, and in the video I do show you how to find my profile page, and you'll be able to see how much it will cost if you don't have a subscription. If you do have a subscription, it will be free for you to use, and please feel free to use it as many times as you like and make as many explosion boxes for different people as you'd like to. This is the actual explosion box that we're going to make using the design that I've put into Design Space today. So we'll just take the lid off. I haven't put the ribbon and the bow around it yet because I wanted to show you what it actually entails in the intro. So if you take the lid off, the box opens, and then we've got 3 different layers of card here with all different things for your mom or your nan or whoever is special to you to have, especially tailored to them and to their relationship with you, really. So inside I've put some little photos of the kids, so there's one there and one there, and then on the second layer in there's some little envelopes, and again that's got a photo in it there. This envelope also has a photo in it there, and we've made all of these envelopes from scratch and put them into the explosion box here ourselves, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do all of that, don't worry. There's another little faux envelope here. This one is actually stuck down to the board, but you can see there's a photograph just sticking out there, so we can pull that out. And in the centre I've also put some little paper hearts which are embedded with flower seeds, and I'm going to ask the kids to write a little message to their nan on there so that she's got something really special there to plant as well, and see what comes up out of that. I've got a little verse on this section, so the Cricut has used its pen function to write on there as well. The explosion box is such a really great use of techniques and a really good way of practicing how to use your Cricut as well. We've used print then cut, we've used the pen facility, we've used offset. There's so many different techniques involved in this, but it's just so easy to do. So let's jump straight in to how to do it. I have to say this was quite the process to cut everything out for this project, but now it's all done, I'm going to go through and show you what you should have and which piece fits where. So we've got our first layer of the explosion box, and I'm just going to move these over out the way actually, just a second. Okay, so we've got our first layer here. So with our first layer you should have a cross like this one. You should have a little verse that has been written onto the card with the Cricut. Then you should have some little hearts. Of course, this is all cut out on cardstock of your choice, so you can choose exactly how you want your explosion box to be. You should also have a little background piece here, and that's going to be the background for your little hearts. Then you'll either have mum or mom, depending on what you prefer, what you call your mum. But in the Midlands in the UK, mom, M-O-M, is the preferred pronunciation for mother. So we use mom. But if you want to change that, you can by all means change that in the design. Then I have this little silver piece, and then you have an envelope that will go on the top here like so. This looks a bit weird actually at the moment, but once it's glued down it'll look great. And then you've got this piece here like this, and then the little heart goes in the middle. So we're going to stick those pink pieces down onto that silver, and then we're going to stick it onto here, but we're not going to stick it down entirely. We're going to put a little edge of glue all the way around the card, so then you can slide some little notes into there. So that's the first layer. The second layer is here, and you should have for this one again the square piece in the cardstock of your choice. For these outline crosses I am using a paper pad that I purchased from the works. I'll just grab it and show you. This is the one I'm using. It's called Lovely Mystery. It's £4, as you can see, from the works. And this is 24 sheets. They're double-sided and they're all like lilacs, pinks, galaxy designs and stuff. And I really like this particular pad. They are 230 GSM, so they're verging on like a medium cardstock weight-wise. It cuts really well on the Cricut as well. So for this you should have your cross, then you'll have two little envelopes that will cut out and will fold, and the score lines are on these envelopes for you to use. I have left the score lines off of these crosses because I'm going to do those manually in a moment. I just prefer to do it manually because I think it's more accurate and I feel as though I get a better fold than I do using the scoring wheel. To be honest, I find the scoring wheel to be a little bit useless. Then you'll have a little Love You Mum. That is a design from Cricut Design Space, which is why it says Mum and not Mom. And then I've got some little hearts again for this side. So that's our second layer. Then the third layer here, we've got Best Mum Ever, which again was drawn with the glitter gel pen and a little offset that I've put there for that one. And then here we've got some frame pieces, and I'm planning on putting some photographs on there. And this one I've cut out using the same cardstock as the first layer of the box here, so it cut really nicely on an actual flower, which is great. Then on this side again, another little framework, and then you've got the lid here, which is just a stunted version of the cross that we used for these ones. And this is just cut out using some plain lilac cards, so it will coordinate nicely colour wise with the boxes that we've got here now. First things first then, let's remove all of the pieces from this. I'm going to work from the inside out so it gives it a good time to dry. So I'm going to grab my metal ruler and I'm just going to use my Cricut weeding tool for this. So just a standard weeding tool. Let's just move those over a touch. All I'm going to do is get my ruler and I'm just going to score from one side to the other. I just feel like the Cricut scoring wheel, to be honest, for me was a bit of a waste of money because it doesn't give me the folds that I want it to. Even if I use the double scoring wheel, it just doesn't seem to work. So I much prefer to do it manually. I always feel like I get a much crisper fold and I don't get any cracking of my cardstock or whatever. So there's our first one done. What we need to do now is start assembling all our pieces. So I'll do that and I will probably speed this bit up for you. So with this next layer, you've got these little envelopes that are already scored, and they have scored okay, but I am going to give them a little bit of a helping hand. With this one, I have gone over the score again, and as I said, I'm using the double scoring wheel for this, but it's just not giving a good score. So you can see here, it's quite a rough looking bend, and that's just bending it using the line that's been given by the scoring wheel. So I'm not going to bend it on this side of my card. I am actually going to use my ruler again and my little weeding tool, and I'm just going to go down it like that, and look at the difference that we've got there. So I can now just fold that over, and that looks so much more crisp than the other side there. So what we're going to do now is just glue these together, and these are going to need a little bit of drying time because they're quite small. So what we want to make sure that we do is put the glue on and we put them underneath to dry. And these little envelopes are so sweet. I'll link all the image codes down below for you, but if you are using my design on Design Space, everything will be on the screen for you ready, so you'll be able to use all of the images that I've used. Don't forget as well, if you're resizing, to make sure that you've got everything grouped together, but I'll show you that in a moment too. The glue's on there. I'm going to just literally press that down and pop it straight underneath here, so it's got some pressure on top of it while it dries, and it doesn't take very long to dry. I'm using the other side of the card for this one. This is like a linen effect card that I'm using here. You can get this one on Amazon. It's a lovely cardstock. It cuts nicely as well. I'm just going to give it a little bit of glue down the edges, and then I'm going to just fold it over, and again pop that one straight underneath there so it's got some pressure on it. Let's score this cross again. Let's have a look at the other side of this. I think that's quite a nice contrast from the purple on the first one to the blue of this one. So let's just score again like we did before. If you're happy using the scoring wheel as well, don't let me put you off, of course. You may get on better with it than I do. I'm thinking about buying myself a scoring stylus and seeing how I get on using one of those instead now. So okay, that's folded over nicely. I love a good offset. Just think it really makes things stand out nicely, and you can do these hearts with the offset as well. So instead of making 3 hearts in different sizes, what I did was just start off with my small heart, and I just added 2 offsets so that they are proportioned correctly, and then we're going to get an equal distance in between each side, which I find it difficult to achieve that if I'm just resizing hearts just by putting a new heart onto the canvas and resizing it. This is the lid piece that I'm going to score up here now. There we go, another nice crisp score. I'm just going to fold that over. This is Hobbycraft's premium cardstock pack that I get ever such a lot of these. I'm going to leave the lid of my box like this because I want it to be sealed up with a ribbon. I'm not going to glue the edges together. That might seem controversial, but that's how I want it to be. And this is the last layer then, so this is the first one. Let's start by putting this little envelope together first. So Oh, I need to mention that this piece I actually scored using the scoring wheel and it didn't work very well, so I ended up rescoring it and folding it. But you can see there how the scoring wheel just did not work at all. So, and it was too far in, which was probably part of my placement on Design Space, but even still. Okay, so here is my little card that says, a mother is your first friend, your best friend, your forever friend. And that's just written in a writing font. So let's pop that on as well. I really enjoy the challenge of making a full design in Design Space, because I know I could use Procreate or Photoshop or any of those programs, but I actually really enjoy making everything from scratch and seeing if it's possible to do, really, because sometimes it's easy to just say, oh, I can do it and import it in, but then if I did do that as well, I wouldn't be able to share it as easily with you guys, because I'd have to end up posting it on a website somewhere else for you to download. And if you're all using Cricut anyway, I just think it's probably easier for you to do it through Design Space, really. Okay, let's let that dry. I'm going to hop into Design Space and just go through the actual design with you and show you how to add some photographs now to the design. Here we are then in Cricut Design Space. So first things first, what you're going to need to do is find the project. If you want to use my design or my template, which you are absolutely more than welcome to do, on the home page here it just comes up with some featured images and your projects will be there as well. You can see that Mother's Day explosion box here, and it does have a little A next to it, which means that it has elements from Cricut Access. So if you are a Cricut Access subscriber, this project will be free for you to use. But if you don't have a Cricut Access subscription, you will probably need to pay a small fee to use the images and the elements that I've included in this design. So in order to find my profile, if you just go up to this search bar up the top, just type in my name, Gemma Rich, and then search, and you'll get a few different things come up that are relevant. But if you go right to the bottom, you'll see community members, and there I am at the bottom. I've got me in the profile picture, so you can see that it's me with the baby card that I made the other week and shared with you. And then you'll see all my shared projects just here, and I have put the Mother's Day explosion box on here already, so you can see it on the screen now and know what you're looking for. But there will be other images added as I have finished this project. So if you just click on there, it's going to show you now all of the elements that are used in this box and this project. So these are all the different items that I've used. It tells you the font name, it tells you all the different envelopes I've used, the hearts, the cross, and all that sort of jazz. So if you click now on customize, okay, so when the project comes up on the screen, it's going to be on 100% at the bottom, so it's quite large. If we just zoom out, we can see the whole project all together. And the way that I have arranged it on the screen, and this will be left like this for you to use, is everything is grouped together as one big group of elements. If you wish to resize this box to make it so that it'll fit your paper or whatever you want to do, you need to make sure that it is grouped together as one group. And then what you'll do is just use either the drag handles, or you can size it at the top if you want to just drag out so that all of the project resizes so that it'll still all fit together. the size that it's at the moment on the screen makes you a explosion box of around 9 centimeters across. That's the size of the lid there. So you've got the first layer, which is the bottom one here, the middle layer, the center layer, and then you've got this lid template here as well. Now, by all means, you can change this to suit whatever it is that you want to do with your explosion box. You don't have to have mom there. If you ungroup, for instance, here, say you don't want to have mum there, what you'll need to do is click on that set of layers and you'll see them all highlighted grey on the right hand side, because that layer is all grouped together as one. And then what you'll want to do again is ungroup that particular layer. So now if you want to move that mum, you can click on it and drag it out so you can change it. You can double click on it to change it in the text box to mum if you want to, and then we can just click off it and it's the same size and everything, but it's just changed the wording to mum. And then we can pop that back on there. It doesn't really matter where you put it. It doesn't have to be too centered, because obviously you're going to be sticking it together when you cut it out. This is the one with the little verse on. Again, if you want to change that, just double click on it and you get the little text box pop up, so you can change that if you wish. The name of the font that I'm using for that is Alexis Mattox. It is a writing font. If you want to change the font, go onto your fonts box up here. So if I just click on that, click on the fonts box here, drop it down, and then come over to filters and click in writing. And then if you want it to be joined up, so kerned fonts, just check that box and you can see all of the different writing fonts. Another one of my favorites is this Alyssa stencil script. I really love that and I use that on a lot of my projects. But there's a lot of different ones here that you can use, and these will all write with your pen. Then there's the hearts, and we've just got these little frame areas. These are the 2 envelopes that we've made individually that I used the linen paper for, and then the hearts, and then we've got these here which are going to be for photos and stuff. So let's add some photos now. So what I'm going to do is just send some pictures over to my computer using my iPhone. The next step then is to get those photos into our design. So if we just go to upload, and all our pictures will be there. If we just do them one at a time, because it will take a long time for them to come up if we do them all at the same time. There's the first one, just hit upload again. There's the second one, add to canvas. And then we'll grab the third one while that's still loading, add to canvas. We've got these little warning triangles over here which say that they are too big, and the reason that it's saying that is because we are doing this as print then cut. So obviously we are constrained to the dimensions that Cricut give us for our print then cut. I'm just going to select all of that and group it together just so that I can hide that while I deal with these. Alright, so here's my pictures. They are huge. That's okay, we're going to resize, so let's just shrink them down to the size that they need to be. So I'm just going to refer to my actual design. So it's the glue's dry now, so let me just measure these boxes. I could do it from the design, but it's going to be easier to do it this way. So that one is 5 centimeters, and so is that one. And then those are my 2 envelopes, that's fine. So 5 centimeters, and then I'm going to put that long one there into this envelope here. So we want to make sure that it's going to be long and wide enough. So that's 6.5-ish. Don't forget we've got the glue line in here, so we want to make sure that we're not going to hit that. So it's going to be quite small, it's going to be about 3 centimeters. So let's just start with that one. So let's make the width on that 6 and see what it does. So 3.2, let's see if that will work. It should be okay. And then this one I've got to knock down to about 4.5. You'll note that I'm not changing this little padlock here because I want the proportions to stay the same. And again with this one, this is going to be about 5 centimeters, 4.5-ish. That's going to be a bit big on the other dimension, I think, but if I change that down to 4.5, it might distort the picture. Let me zoom back out so we can see it. Ooh, there we go. It might be okay. Let's see what happens, shall we? The next step then, before we print out our photographs, is just to add our little envelopes onto here. So I'm going to glue those on now. The reason I'm going to glue them on now is just so that they are dry before my print then cut is done. So let's pop that on the back of there and just stick that on. I'm going to put some more photos in there, I think, actually, so I'm going to just send over a couple more pictures, but I'll do that off screen so you know what you're doing with that now. Let's pop that one on there. I could have probably made them a little bit bigger, so bear that in mind when you are making yours. Maybe make the envelopes a little bit bigger. Let's pop that back underneath so that it's got some pressure on it just to dry off. Pop the lid back on there. Okay, I'll meet you back here in 5 minutes when I've added a few more pictures and we're ready to do the print then cut. Here's all of my photos then on the screen ready, and don't worry, if you are going to use my design, these will all be taken out, so you won't have to worry about that. So all my photos are resized, so they're all going to fit into the section that I want them to fit into on the explosion box. Just going to resize that one a little bit smaller actually, because I can't remember whether I did that, but they're all ready now to print. So if we just go to make it, because I've hidden all of the other layers, the only thing that's going to go through to this screen is my photographs. And you can see the Cricut's ready to do a print then cut. It's got this black border around the photographs, and on the left hand side it shows us a smaller version of our mat and it says print then cut. So what I'm going to do now is click on continue. Once you've put your paper in your printer, if you just click on send printer, this box will come up, and if you want to you can change the settings here, but I tend to just leave them as they are. I'm going to use the bleed function on this, and all that does is just overlaps where your cut's going to be a little bit, so it just makes it a little bit more accurate when it's cutting. You can also change this toggle here to use the system dialog, and all that will do is bring up your printer settings box, but normally that comes up behind Design Space, so you have to actually look for it. I don't tend to think that it makes much difference to the way that my printer prints, so I'm just going to leave that as off, and then I'm just going to click on print. So now that's going to just jump over to my printer and my little photographs will come out over there. Here are my photos then. They've come out quite well. I'm just using a standard glossy photo paper here. It's not an expensive one at all. It's just one that I get from our wholesalers. So I'm just going to pop my page up in the left hand corner of my Cricut cutting mat. I'm just using a light grip today because this mat is pretty sticky. It's one of the ones that I restuck using the sticky mat adhesive. So I'm just going to give it a good roll with the brayer just to make sure that it is all stuck down really well. Once you've printed your page, this is the screen that will come up, and what you'll need to do now is select your base material. So I don't use glossy photo paper all that much, so I don't have it as a favourite. I'm just going to have a quick look on Popular and see if it's on there. It could well be, but it isn't. Let's go over to Browse All Materials, and I'm going to type in photo. Okay, so we've got photo paper. Let's have a look at glossy. What does glossy bring up? Nothing. Okay, let's go for photo. See how we get on. Right, so we're going to click on that. Just make sure you've got the little green tick there to show that you have selected that material. Click on done. The flashing arrow is already on the go, so that's ready to go. Let's pop our mat into the machine, and I'm going to turn off the lights in my craft room. The reason I'm going to turn off the lights in here is so that the Cricut has got a good chance of scanning this page really, really well the first time. Because you'll notice now when I press the flashing C, the Cricut is actually going to start scanning the page, and it's going to put a little light on to allow it to do that. And if when it's doing that there is additional light above, it can sometimes reflect off the page, especially if it is a glossy paper, like glossy photo paper, and it will stop the machine from actually finding what we want it to actually cut. So that's just doing its little scan now. You can see the light is just going over the design, and the machine's just really looking for that black border so it can work out exactly where it needs to cut. And then once that's done, the machine will be happy to start cutting. So this is normally the moment of truth. Yep, it's found it, it's happy, and it's going to do the cutting now. Let's just check that it's cut. So I'm just going to lift this up. I'm just going to check that. Perfect, that's done. Let's eject the mat and we can get this onto the desk and have a look what the next step is. The cut's finished then, so let's now just get this off of the mat. I'm just going to flip the mat over and just peel back the excess photo paper. Let's just peel off the photos. They've come out really nice. I'm quite pleased with them. Okay, I've just trimmed that one down a little bit so that it fits in there, and I'm going to leave it sticking out a touch, so I'm going to just use my tweezers to get that in there, and then that'll be there for her to pull out. Then I've got this one is for an envelope, and so is this one. So the kids are on these ones here individually. Don't expect it really matters who I put on each side. If you wanted to, you could even make some little offsets for the photographs so that you could put them on there. I've got a heart to go on there as well. So this one is for this envelope. Let's pop that into there. And that'll fold over. And then this one is going to go in here. Perfect. Okay, then I've got a little heart. I have got a wooden heart as well that I thought about decorating, but these are little paper hearts which are impregnated with flower seed. I'm going to put this in the middle of my box, and I'm going to get the kids to write a little message on there saying plant me and see what happens. So that'll be fun. Let's get this the right way round now. So okay, so we need to glue this one first. So all you'll want to do is get the layer that you're going to be sticking down and pop some glue on the bottom. And then pop that on top of here. You want to try and get it as central as you can. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer to use a wet glue, because you do have a window of opportunity to move things around until it's dry. Some people do use tape, and sometimes I use tape, but only when I'm 100% sure that where I'm putting it down first time is going to be where it's going to stay. A little tiny bit of dried glue there. I'm just going to take that off. And then this one goes on here as well. So let's just fold that up. Just pop that down. Okay, and then we've got our little flower filled hearts that are going to go in the centre. So let's just let this dry for a few minutes. Okay, so once that is done, you can fold up your explosion box. grab your lid, pop your lid on. I've got this blue ribbon from Hobbycraft, so this will stay in the theme of my lilac and blue. So what I can do is just put this around the 4 sides and then pop a bow onto the top. And then when my mum opens it, she'll take the lid off and all of the different layers of the explosion box will be ready for her to investigate. I really love this, and I just think it's such a lovely personal gift for somebody that's got everything already. And I hope that you're going to use my design to make one for your mum or your nan or whoever is special to you on a Mother's Day. Of course, it doesn't have to be for your mum, it can be for anybody that's special in your life and somebody that you just want to show appreciation for and say thank you and let them know that you love them. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd love to see you again for the next one. So don't forget to subscribe. Drop me any questions down below that you might have. And in the meantime, I would love to see your explosion boxes. So don't forget to tag me in your pictures on Instagram. And if you want to see my Instagram page, I will link that down below for you right now. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you soon. Bye.